Come on, already.
Mhm.
Ladies and gentlemen, fasten your seatbelt, hold on tight. You're in for one crazy, epically cool, and amazing ride tonight on the Josh Nolan and Oliver Schultz Full Throttle Racing Show, #1 on YouTube. With us tonight is go-kart sensation Chad Rack. Welcome to the show, Mr. Chad.
Hey, thanks. How you doing?
Doing pretty good. So, Chad, where did your racing career begin, or how did it begin, shall I say?
Well, it started at Atwater Speedway in Atwater, Minnesota. It kind of started as a fluke deal. Um, had a had dirt bike and a four wheeler. I was looking to get rid of. I ended up trading it for a go kart with a YZ85 motor on it, with a shifter motor on it, and kind of sparked an interest in, kind of maybe I should be racing, maybe I should be getting my kids into it, and that kind of what the whole thing was, is just to go out, try it, learn something new, and pull my kid into it, or try to pull my
Okay,
kids into it. So
so
that's kind of
so Oliver, go
that's
ahead.
kind of how it started.
So Oliver, I'm going to let you ask a question now.
Alrighty. So what is your racing number and how'd you kind of come along with picking that number?
Number 79, because that was the year I was born. My birthday is July 19th, so that's 7/19/79. I'm full of sevens and nines, and it's kind of been it's followed me my whole life. So guess what? It can keep following me.
Yeah, pretty close.
So,
Only two numbers away from mine. I'm number 77. But
Cool. That's my youngest son's number. So cool.
yeah, it's cool. Um, so where do you see yourself in like the next 5, 10 years? Where do you see yourself in like racing wise?
Racing wise, that's a great question. Racing wise, I just got into racing, 2 seasons ago, so it's all new to me. But it's like it's one of those things where I connect with it. I love driving. Driving's my number one thing I love to do. If you ask my wife, it drives her nuts. I am out in the yard running mini bikes, go-karts, dirt bikes, four-wheelers. I'm building a race tractor. I've been doing, donuts in the driveway. I mean, it's always a constant. I'm always driving something, pushing the envelope. That's what's fun to me. So,
Cool. So well, I guess I'll let you ask some questions, Josh.
so Chad, who do you have for sponsors on your race car?
Uh, not a single one. I'm the sole proprietor of our racing carts and careers, for goodness sake. We haven't we didn't know how it was going to end up or how we were going to do, if we were going to like it, love it. There were so many questions, so I've been just I'm kind of a make something out of nothing guy. So, like, I've never owned a new set of tires on my cart. Okay, I've been running used tires. I got a group of tires from a guy in Fargo, and that's what I've been using. So I've been learning and doing all this stuff all at one time, trying to take it all in. So it's like our sponsor is me right now. So
So, are you looking for sponsors, Chad?
of course, we're always looking for some. I mean, if we had new tires every race, if we had, all these things, imagine how fast we could be. Imagine what we could put down on the track. Imagine the possibilities, right? So it's like to make something from nothing and be able to get as far as I did in the season, with the least amount of experience that I have. I mean, some of these kids that I meet out there, they have umpteen times the experience I do. And these are just children, 10 and 11 years old, and they drive the pants off of these things every weekend. It blows my mind. It's a fun environment. It's awesome to be in. And it's a great way to spend the weekend.
So, I'd like to kind of help you out there, Chad. So, if there's anybody out there going to be watching this racing show with me and Chad Rack, the go kart racer, reach out to Chad because they'd appreciate the sponsorship on Chad's race car
Yeah,
as
for
he gets
sure.
further into his racing, as he gets further into his racing career. So
Cool.
Oliver, I'm gonna go ahead and let you ask a question now.
Alrighty. So, Chad, what are you and your sons like? What would you say your guys' goals are through your racing career? What would you say is one of your goals?
Just leave a lasting name that, we're out there to have fun. We're gonna play by the rules. We're just out to have fun. Just have fun, play by the rules, make new friends, make long lasting, friendships that last the rest of our lives, affect other people in positive ways. And, I mean, finish the race is my motto. Just finish the race. That's all you can do every time you go out, is just finish the race. It's
So,
written in the front of my cart. It's my motto. I mean, you look at my cart, look in the front of it, there's black permanent marker that just says finish the race, right?
yeah, I know it's definitely the same way for me. I used to race go-karts, and I know my dad, once I kind of first started my racing career, he always kind of told me, just go out there and finish the race and try your best.
Yep.
I
Yep.
you can't do well if you don't cross the finish line. So,
That's right.
but my next question, so what kind of gets I know I've heard some way different responses to this question and some alike, but what kind of gets you kind of ready and like pumped for once you to like get out there and to go race?
Oh, that's a great question. I don't necessarily get pumped up. I don't think I get pumped up. I more get in the zone. I don't try to get too excited. I don't try to get stuck in the drama. I try to just stay in a straight line, basically, while taking left-hand turns, obviously. But, it's that thing. It's just being on a level plane, making sure my head's clear. So that way I'm out there, I'm enjoying it. I'm like, I can, like probably many other people have, many other racers do. It's like that movie, anything over 7,000 RPMs, everything just kind of fades away. And the only thing that you're stuck on is that racetrack in front of you. So it's that driver's thing. It's that driving thing. It's just, it runs deep.
Yeah. So what would you say is one of your best things that's ever happened to you in your racing career? I know it's only been 2 seasons, but what would you
Sure.
say is one of the most uh best things you've done?
Probably not more than what I've done, probably just like brought my family closer. Like, I think racing, doing this every weekend has brought my family closer. So my wife's there, my son's there, my daughter shows up when she can, she's in college now. So it's hard for her to get to these races on the weekends now. So it's like, it's that family gathering. You go to the racetrack and guess what? It's grandpa, it's dad, it's uncle, it's friend, it's, like, sure, you find that other places, but I don't think it runs as thick as it does on the racetrack. So,
Yeah, I mean, I can definitely relate to that. I know it's always kind of been ever since I started racing. Actually, not too long ago, probably like 4 years ago. A big thing for me was just kind of having those family members and stuff like that there to kind of, I don't know, just kind of cheer me on. It's always kind of been a good part of it. But what would you say is one of your kind of big things that you've learned from racing, like lessons or stuff like that?
patience is always the thing, right? Patience always comes, I've learned over time, with age, you gain patience, right? You learn to deal with stuff. You've dealt it with many a times, and it's a new experience to go out there and actually like have to hold off in a corner because, you don't have enough roll speed to get by them, or that just that patience it takes, because I just want to go out and I want to get sideways around the whole track and just have a ball, like put on a show for everybody, because at the end of the day, that's what they're there to watch you race. They're there for somebody to be making moves, doing, that's what racers do. We go out and we perform, and we just want to go have fun and kick some butt, right? It's not, we don't have to win every single time. We just need to finish the race. So I'm sure as well, you go out there and some days just they just feel real good, right? So
Yep, definitely. But Josh, you got any questions?
Yeah, Chad. So okay, what is your favorite racetrack you've raced on so far?
good question. I haven't raced many of them. But the ones I have, I mean, I've raced Alexandria, I've raced Blue Earth, we've done Atwater. There's I don't know. I love the Atwater track. There's something about it. It's just fast, it's fun. You know, they can from weekend and week out, they'll change that track. You know, they'll throw a cone high and it changes everything, you know, which makes you come into play. And it's where that my whole 2 years experience comes into play, and I need to start pulling cross out of the cart, or I need to start, you know, running less air pressure on one side, you know. So it's a big giant learning lesson. You know, I've owned, I don't know, 5 third-generation Camaros in my life. You know, I've pulled them apart. I got one sitting in the garage right now. The wife and I pulled the motor, put new tranny in it. So big cars are, obviously a love of mine, but to go out and have fun like a kid, and enjoy it with my son, that's the biggest thing. It's not like I on a baseball field, I can go join him out in left field with a glove, So it's cool to be there with him, enjoying it right next to him and actually getting in with the fun too. So
So one of my other questions I have for you, Chad, is who is your racing hero? Who do you look up to as a race car driver?
well, back in the day, I mean, like Richard Petty. I mean, come on, the king, dude. That hat said it all. He had a belt buckle on his hat. I mean, I'm a Dukes of Hazard kid. I'm a, Knight Rider. I'm a, all those things. So he comes into play with that, and like Ken Block, for example, he was amazing, amazing driver, you know. And for the little guy Tanner Faust, I mean, the guy can drive, I
Yeah.
mean, come on, these are the guys that, not everybody gets all the TV time. We don't have everybody to watch. So, it's kind of cool that you do a show like this, Josh and Oliver, to, bring the little guy a little show, So
Yes. So Oliver, do you have any questions for you?
I do. So growing up, what sports did you play that um throughout like school and stuff like that?
hockey, Minnesota boy here, played hockey since I was 5 years old till I was a junior in high school, and as soon as I got out of high school, it was a crotch rocket and a Z28 Camaro. So, speed's been my thing since I was, I could ever do. I remember riding wheelies with my stupid pedal bike all the way down the road. I mean, blocks, you'd ride that wheelie, So I don't know, living on the edge, pushing the envelope, going fast. It's just, it's what I get kicks out of.
Yeah. So what would you say like once you kind of get through your racing career, what would you say is one of your goal tracks or events to go to?
Sure. I mean, any like a big Maxis event, or it's like I like going out and finding the best guys. That's kind of why I started at Atwater, because I wanted, they get a lot of carts in and out of there, and I wanted to put myself against the best guys. I want to go against the fastest guys. I want those guys to push me. You know what I mean? So it's like I have no base limit on where to start or where to finish. So it's like if I can chase that fast guy, that's where I want to be. So
Yeah, very cool. So Josh, you got any questions?
Yeah, I do, Chad. So do you have any crazy stories out of your racing career that you'd like to share with us? Like, man, this happened this night. This is how I got the win, or this incident I was involved in on the racetrack.
I can't tell you how. I remember when I first started, okay, a couple years ago, I wasn't using any tire prep, anything like that. And I'm out there and I'm sideways around the corner. I'm sideways down the straightaways, and I just think I was crazy for doing that. I mean, I've learned the tire prep program. I've got on it. It worked to my advantage this year. I was able to take the championship, by a couple points, but a couple points is a couple points. So it was a big thing to learn. So for me to go out there, just kind of deer in the headlights a couple years ago, and I remember going, okay, we're going to see how fast we can go around this corner. And I literally lead footed it, down the straightaway. I was lead footed into the corner and I flew off the track, blew the
Wow.
chain off and everything, so it's like, I look back and I was like, okay, I was a little crazy, but it was fun. It was fun.
Oh yeah. So Chad, with your racing career, what do you like to do for fun away from the racetrack?
Fishing, hunting, driving around, riding bike, you know, four-wheeling, dirt biking, mini bikes, go yard carts, go-karts. I mean, you name it, let's do it.
Okay, okay, okay. So Oliver, do you have any questions for him?
Yep. So what would you say is like a big thing that you kind of like what you were saying, like you drove off the track, but kind of tried to push it as hard as you could. But what would you say is one of the bigger things that you've kind of seen and kind of realized that's kind of changed throughout your racing career, like in your driving style?
It's like you said, the patience and like, just using the cart to your advantage, using your weight, using your grip, and like I said, every day is different on the track. You're always trying to chase that perfect setup. So at the end of the day, it's like it's just learning when you get that perfect setup. I came out this season, the last race of the season, and for some reason everything was right. Everything was right. The tires were right. The cart was set up right. I mean, the motor was running perfect, and it all came around. So it's like I build all my own open motors in my cart. So I'm getting a little bit of like I'm getting a pat on my back for myself for putting my stuff together. So it's cool. I was against tough competition this year. Like there's some boys out there that got a lot of skills, and probably the best thing out of the whole thing is like the camaraderie in between the racers. It's like you go there and instantly every racer out there is your best friend. You know what I mean? Because
Yep.
there ain't many of us, and the ones of us, that's the thing we share in common. So
Cool. So what would you say, like, I don't know if you've had one of these incidents yet in your racing career, but like, what would you say, like during like the time in between heat two and the features, stuff like that, what would you say is like one thing that you kind of do to uh kind of use the time?
cleaning tires. Usually, like last year, I had my two boys at the track with me. They were both running carts in two different classes. So it was literally clean tires, prep tires, gas. I mean, there's never any time, to even think about it. It's always a go, go, go. And that's where that family comes back into play. And it's like we all come together and make it work. So
Cool.
So,
So, oh, sorry, Josh.
so Chad, going back to the Richard Petty thing, did you ever get a
sure.
chance to meet Richard Petty?
No, that would have been amazing though. Right?
Yeah, yeah, exactly, exactly. But go ahead, Oliver.
Um, so trying to think of what my question was. Well, I forgot what my question was, Josh.
Okay, so Chad, when you're at the racetrack, what's your go-to food that you go to when you're at the racetrack?
What's my go-to? What's my go-to food?
Yeah.
Usually I'm so jacked for the day. I don't eat much. It's usually I'm old. I'm almost 45 years old going out there. It's usually Pedialyte, and that's usually about it. You might get a half a hamburger in me, maybe, but I don't know. Something about, keeping that head clear, making sure I can race. I don't want. I don't need nothing to hold me down.
Okay. How about it, Oliver? You got another question for him?
Um, yeah. What would you say is like, off the track, kind of at your house? What would you say is like, what do you kind of do racing wise? Like, kind of do you like work on the carts a lot? Um, that
Yeah,
kind of stuff.
yeah, definitely. I mean, it's nonstop during the season. Obviously, it's come home, go through everything. That was like one staple of our season this year is like I had one restart all year. And that's kind of a staple to our years. Like we didn't have a single problem all year with anything. And that's because of that work at home. You go home that week you're there, you're going through tires, you're checking bearings, you're checking nuts, bolts. I mean, I'm pretty meticulous when it comes to that stuff. I like building my stuff. So I know how it goes together. That's the way I want it. So yeah, go home and yeah, you put some time in, but you know what? There's always time for other stuff like building mini bikes and putting all this little motor work I do towards other things. So it's like my yard cart is probably just as powerful as my race cart.
Cool. So, as we kind of round out the show, what would you say is one thing that you would kind of, as a story carter yourself, what would you say is kind of a big like thing that you'd like to say to people that are trying to get into karting?
I just try to suck them in. I'm like, it's literally the best fun you can have. It's such a tight knit thing. It's like, and if you're a family and with a kid out there and you want to get them karting and you want to feel that warmth and feel it, literally these people will tell you everything you need to know. Obviously get to a point where you won't need any more information, but like anybody, you can go to anybody on the track and they will help you out. I mean, that's the whole family of the thing. It's crazy. Everybody's there to help each other out, and they're all there for one goal, and that's to watch some racing. So
Cool. But Josh, do you got any questions to kind of?
Yep, yep. I've got a couple more questions for him. So, Chad, who are some of your friends at the racetrack?
everybody,
Everybody? Okay.
everybody. I mean, everybody that wants to be a friend. I mean, I've asked my wife. I mean, I'd say hello to probably 30 different people. While we're there, at least stop for 2 seconds and say hi, shake your hand. I mean, that's the cool part about the track.
So, Chad, do you have anybody else you'd like to thank for helping you get this far with your racing career?
Yeah, my wife. First and foremost, if she didn't put up with my shenanigans, I probably wouldn't be doing, I wouldn't be having as much fun with my shenanigans. So at that point, my wife, she's my number one supporter. She's backed me. She don't get she knew nothing, she know nothing about the motors, nothing about the carts, but at the end of the day, she doesn't care about any of that. She just cares that she's there and she can help. And it's awesome to have that support.
So, Chad, a couple more questions for you. When you're away from the racetrack, what's your go-to restaurant that you like to go
Go
to,
to
man?
I don't know. I'm kind of all over the place. I mean, I had Japanese earlier today. We went
Ooh,
up to Duluth last week for Northern Water Smokehouse. Um, we do a little Hermanos tacos every Tuesday. I mean, Old Southern Barbecue. Gosh, you're making me hungry.
so what's your favorite go-to meal that you cook at home that you like to cook on the
Did
grill
I
or
cook
something?
at home?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a great question. Um, Probably breakfast, hash browns, eggs, bacon, sausage,
Oh, okay. Okay,
something
very
simple.
cool, very cool, very cool. So, Chad, do you have a racing page that the racing fans can follow you on?
No, I don't. I just have a couple YouTube videos out there, that we threw on a couple races I did. And, I was kind of thinking about doing something like that, like a Facebook, page or something like that, just give some fans to follow or.
Okay. So my last question is, do you have any advice for the kids coming up in the racing world?
Get out there, do it, have fun. It's awesome. You'll love it. You'll learn a ton. I mean, you'll notice at the track, half these kids, I mean, they're running around playing crazy madness in between heats and features. I mean, it's so fun to see all these kids out there having fun. And it goes back to that family thing where, you got 20 kids running around playing with each other, and I don't know, it's cool to see. So, um, you know, mom, dad, don't be scared. Get out there, bring them to the track. If not anything, you learn something. So,
Okay, so Chad, thank you very much for being on our racing show tonight, talking to us about your racing career. Would you like to say thank you to him, Oliver, too?
dude, I
Yes.
would love to say thanks to both of you guys. Thanks for calling me. Thanks for making me a big deal tonight. And I appreciate it.
Yes, and
And,
Chad, coming up. Go ahead, Oliver.
oh, I'd just like to say thank you, Chad. It definitely helps a lot where when guests like you and anyone we have on the show, it really helps when just kind of help grow the YouTube channel and try to fulfill our dream to grow the show.
Hey man, we're scratching each other's back, right?
Yeah.
And
That's awesome.
Chad, crazy enough, if you can tune into KKOJ 105.7 next week, radio station in Jackson, Minnesota, sometime next week, I'm going to be on that radio station talking about this racing show that we do live
Sweet.
on the air there at 105.7 KKOJ radio in Jackson, Minnesota.
Cool. I got it written down. We'll find a podcast or we'll find something to tune in.
Yes, definitely. But thank you again, Chad, for being on the racing show with us tonight. We'll let you step out. We'll call you a little bit to thank you in person, okay?
Well, thanks guys. Have a great night.
You too.
You too.
Thank you very much.
Bye guys.
Bye. Bye. So, Oliver,
Hi.
do you have any racing news out there you'd like to share with anybody that you know of?
Well, me and my dad are kind of still working on the sport mod. We got a week or so ago. So yeah, just trying to kind of slowly build it apart. Right now it's a roller, but I mean build it, but right now it's a roller, and we're just gonna kind of add it up. Hopefully we can be ready by next season.
And I'll tell you what, Oliver, I have an announcement for you too. I didn't even let you know in on December 6th. If you can tune in that night, be on that racing show with me that night. We have an incredible guest that night that has a storybook racing career that is coming off of a 30-year racing career out of the state of Indiana. He is a USAC Sprint Car champion, USAC Silver Crown champion, and USAC Midget winning driver. We have the legendary Dave Darland on the show that night.
That sounds really cool. I'll definitely I'll show up for that one. I'm pretty excited.
Yes, definitely. So Oliver, thank you also for co-hosting with me tonight. And I'll tell you what, I'm going to call you in a little bit to thank you in person for being a part of this with me tonight also.
All right.
So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, if you would like, we would like to thank our sponsors, Dirt Track Race Cars and Company. Go hit up dirttrackracecars.com for all your racing diecast needs. They have some pretty epically awesome 1/64 scale sprint cars. They have 3 brand new Doug Wolfgang cars out there. They have also a Dan Lasowski number 47 car out there. They also have a Sammy Swindell, one Nance sprint car they drove in 1982 out there, all in 1/64 scale. So definitely go eat that up. Go buy them up at dirttrackracecars.com. Also, I'd like to thank Brody Manning and Manning Motorsports for helping us out with this racing show, New England Hemophilia Association, and Walking with Waylon Page. Also, ladies and gentlemen, if you'd like to help sponsor a racing show or be a part of this racing show or even be on the racing show, feel free to email us at jjnolan151@gmail.com or call or text us at 712-209-7138. With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, have a good night. Catch you later on another episode of the Josh Nolan and
Oliver Schultz Racing Show.
Full Throttle Racing Show #1 on YouTube. So continue living life at full throttle, ladies and gentlemen.